All right, well, let's get started because I think we have a limited amount of time. And even though time is an illusion, it doesn't exist. We're going to be done by about 25, 30 minutes from now. So hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm currently in Bali. So sending you all beautiful sunshine and tropical weather wherever you are in the world. And today we're gonna talk about architecting your reality and learning how to manage that through channeling and time travel and a lot of other beautiful things. Welcome, Tosh. And so actually, I can guide us through some slides, which I actually somehow have. So hopefully everybody can see that. And we'll just run through these and I'll move pretty quickly. So if you guys have any questions, please post them in the chat box. Awesome. And so the concept here is that we are the creators of our reality and that we get to, there are certain things that you could do and certain changes you can make in your inner world in order to start creating your outer world. And what does that mean? It means you're actually able to live a life that is effortless, that is fun, is magical, when you're constantly having synchronicities and you're really just feeling like an empowered creator. So many times we've been told that, you have to work hard and you have to go to school, get a job and have a family, have kids, and I don't know, work until the weekend until you die, which, I don't know, it didn't sound very fun to me. So through going on my own spiritual journey over the last decade or so, I've embodied a lot of these different modalities and I've trained with people all over the world, had a lot of different plant medicine ceremonies. And this is kind of the consolidation of a lot of those things. And so let's go through it. And kind of the underlying principle here is that your beliefs drive your entire reality. So whatever you believe you can or can't do, it's true for you. So oftentimes we hear people saying, oh, I'm not good at making money, or, only certain types of people can travel, or, I'm not good at this. Okay, well, that's true then for you. And so here we're going to go through some things that actually dig at the deeper layer and allow you to unearth that and shift it. And so there's some foundational things that we get to cover. So one of those, I think we already touched upon, is that we get to create anything that we want at any given time. And that from the principle of quantum physics, it's important to also recognize that everything is possible at any given moment. Now, what does that mean? It means that in my reality, it's possible that Barack Obama walks into my villa and writes me a check for $1 billion, and then we have fun playing, I don't know, a video game. And to me, that would be normal and acceptable in my reality. And my emotional state wouldn't shift. Like I wouldn't think that that's out of the ordinary. It would be kind of, okay, normal. And as you go through this path and you go through this journey of normalizing pretty amazing things, then that becomes your normal as well. And the next topic is, just like an atom is 1% nucleus and 99% empty space, similarly with us, so our physical body is actually just a 1% manifestation of our consciousness. So we're actually 99% consciousness and only 1% matter. And this should just give you perspective on, whenever you're feeling triggered or angry or feeling a specific emotion, recognize that it's like less than 1% of you, of your entity, is actually feeling that. So there's just something to be aware of, right? And for the next one, your frequency controls everything. So your outer reality matches your internal reality always. So whenever you love how people are showing up in your life and they're treating you kindly, and you have a job that you really love and you feel like really self-fulfilled, okay, congratulations. That means you've done the work internally that allows you to feel that and experience that. If you feel like, oh, I don't have the money that I want, and people coming to my business are saying that it's too expensive, or I don't have enough clients, or your relationships aren't quite at the level that you want them to be, and they're more kind of mediocre and you're just settling for it. I've been there. Well, guess what? That's reflecting deeper inner work that you haven't done. It's showing you areas in you that you get to process and you get to clear, so that externally then you have exactly what you want. So, you know, when the book The Secret came out, yeah, when exactly like the law of attraction, etc., it's only half the truth, because it doesn't work quite the way that it's described. And the law of attraction works because you actually need to know where you're manifesting subconsciously. You say, yeah, when you want, but most people have no idea what they're actually wanting. They think they know with their mind, but in reality, it's their subconscious that manifests everything. And this is one of the bullets down there on the page, that 95% of our reality is actually subconscious, which we're not aware of. And so subconsciously, we could be saying, oh shit, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have a relationship. But our conscious mind will say, oh, I want a relationship. Guess what you're going to manifest? You're going to manifest the 95%, which has a lot more power than your 5% mind. So it's important to really understand your subconscious and align it with your consciousness, so that they're projecting the same elements. And another thing that people get to really embody on this journey is that they're 100% responsible for their reality. And this isn't an easy thing sometimes for people to hear, because any trauma they've experienced, anything that you felt like a victim, whether you were abused, whether something happened, yes, and recognize that you created that in order to experience a particular lesson on the karmic plane. And the sooner you can accept that, the sooner you can learn the lesson, and the sooner that doesn't need to show up in your life. And there's a great quote that says, when you're done learning a lesson, it no longer shows up in your life. This is the case here as well. So everything is a gift, and every moment is happening for you. And these are kind of like the foundational things. And just overall, many of us don't even know what's possible, and we think we have a great life. However, I invite you to tune into the best moment of your life, where you were surrounded by friends. Maybe you were out in nature somewhere and you just felt at peace and blissful and grounded. And guess what? You can have that every moment of your life. And most of us have been conditioned to believe that's not the case. Well, false, because most people don't experience that. However, it is very much possible to have that, to be at that state, and to constantly be in that, and to constantly just manifest amazing things in your life. So life can and should be effortless, joyful, where there's no such thing as hustling or working hard, or, you know, like going out and like networking and doing things like that. It doesn't exist in my world. And I have an amazing life where I can fly where, like, I've flown around in private planes and like went to like organized retreats with Hollywood celebrities and all of this without like investing any money into it. So it's all possible just through the state of your being. This is the important thing here, right? So it's not based on your external circumstances, it's based on your internal state of being. So moving on to the next things, there's a concept of where most of the world operates in a state of be, do, have, which is where we say, hey, I'm going to go get this job. And, or rather they're in do, have, be. They're going to do this job, they're going to make money, they're going to buy a car, and then they're going to be happy. So it's like, we're going to do something, we're going to buy something, and then we're going to be happy. Problem is, it never works, and it's impossible for it to work because it has scarcity built into the foundation. Because when you're in that state, what you're saying is, I want to do something in order to have something, and you're saying that I don't have it right now. Subconsciously, you're projecting, I'm not happy at the moment, so I have to get to it. And there's no evaluation function in the universe. There's not like, oh, you know, this is what I think this person means. It's a one-for-one match. And what that means is that whenever you're projecting fear, or you're projecting, hey, I don't have love right now, the universe goes, okay, awesome, you don't have love right now, there you go. And it's going to send you data to prove that. So the way to shift out of that is you actually have to move that state of being to the front, which means you get to choose a state of happiness, a state of gratitude, a state of bliss, and then create and do things out of that state solely for the purpose of creation, without attaching yourself to an outcome. And only then can you actually then have the things that you want to have. And so in reality, and the best thing here is you have 100% control of that. You have 100% control of your emotional state, and you get to just choose those things. Now, it's a good quote from Joe Dispenza that essentially all you need to shift is your internal reality. You don't need to rely on anything external, and that you can just choose all of those emotions, all of those emotional states. And I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the movie The Matrix, that this is kind of like that. At least it felt like that to me and a lot of other people I know. When you're going down this path, you're really going down a rabbit hole. And once you see certain things, you can't unsee them. So it's pretty normal for like my friends and I to see UFOs at this point and like have psychic conversations and talk about clairvoyance. And this becomes the new normal. And it's just something you kind of accept as part of the journey, and recognize that many of us have been conditioned to live in this state of fear, where it's a lot easier to not take responsibility for our life. And it's a lot easier maybe to say, okay, I'm going to do what society tells me to do. I'm going to follow the rules. I'm going to go up this corporate ladder. You can do all those things. And many people do. Unfortunately, then they're 50 and they're fucking miserable because they haven't done anything that is their own desire, and they've been following society's rules. So we get to make a choice whether we want to do that. And that's okay if we do, as long as it's a choice. Or we get to choose to go a different way and actually create our reality. So let's briefly touch upon thought, words, and actions, which is the trinity of creating your reality. So people have seen the movie, this is from Inception, and essentially your thoughts and your beliefs, they control how you view reality. So if you believe, for instance, that the world is unsafe, which you might have adopted from childhood, guess what? Everywhere you travel, you're now going to be feeling that. You're going to be looking for evidence of that, where people might rob you, people might hurt you, people might cheat you, whatever that is. And that's going to be, it's like the data you look for is the data you're going to find. And that's pretty amazing concept to realize. So there's this concept of a reticular activating system that, let's say you want to buy like a purple Bentley. All of a sudden, you're going to see those purple Bentleys everywhere. And what happens is you're focusing in your energy and your attention on something. It's the same thing with beliefs. So if you believe you're unworthy of love, you're going to subconsciously look for data to validate that, and you're going to find it. So whatever data you look for, you're going to find. So when you're going through the process of shifting your beliefs, you can actually choose a different belief and say, I am worthy of love. And actually then consciously tune yourself to look for evidence of that. And I guarantee you're going to find it. And through holding that vibration, I am worthy of love, and constantly looking for that data, you're reprogramming your subconscious. So this is a foundational concept. And whatever we believe our reality is exactly what it is for us. And all of these things, all of these blocks, they're no one's fault, and that you actually just picked them up when you were growing up in order to survive, in order to just defend yourself. And this is the only mechanism you knew how. So there's no need to be angry at yourself or your parents or anyone else. It's saying, okay, this was exactly what needed to happen for me to have the experience that I had. And that's perfect in the way that it is. So there are a few elements here where it's your attention, right? You get to focus where you put that, and you can put that on being afraid of something or loving something. It's your intention, and it's keeping focus on what it is that you're focusing on, what you want to experience. It's your focus and holding that particular vision, and you have to hold it for a particular period of time in order for it to actually manifest in your reality. It's the energy with which you're projecting that. So if you're projecting from a state of grief and sadness and shame and anger, guess what? You're going to manifest that. Versus if you're projecting from a state of bliss and gratitude, it's going to be a totally different power level, like orders of magnitude higher, and you're going to manifest a lot faster. And this is all also limited by your limiting beliefs. So if you think of it like a beam on a projector, the degree to which that beam gets through and manifests something in your projector, like on the screen, which is your reality, it's limited by the amount of clearing that you've done on the subconscious level. So that's something to look at. And there's some power questions that you can start asking yourself. For instance, if you're feeling triggered, asking, what belief must I hold to be true in order to actually feel this right now? And this is going to allow you to get at the deeper limiting beliefs behind being triggered, right? If you're feeling angry, okay, you can feel angry, but also say, what do I believe about reality so that I feel angry right now? Do I believe that people who show up late to a meeting disrespect me? Do I believe that I'm not worthy of respect? This is going to challenge you to go actually a few layers deeper than you might be used to. And where did you get this belief? Was it from your mom, from your dad, from your church, from your teacher? And recognize, okay, I recognize maybe I didn't choose this belief, but I can choose for it to be the case or not the case now. And you can make a choice and say, okay, I choose something else. And so just recognizing, what are my beliefs? Are they serving me? What is another belief that I can choose to have? And so there's some resources you can read, Joe Dispenza's and some other books that will be good to shed some light on that. And also remember that, yes, books are great. At the end of the day, you need experience. And that experience is what's going to allow you to actually integrate this in your life. Now, let's talk about words. So your words create your reality, and everything that you say is or isn't true. So there are a few foundational concepts here. One, it's really important to eliminate any negative talk about yourself or anyone else. For instance, when we're judging other people, it's actually judgment of ourselves. And essentially, if you're saying anything negative about yourself, you're programming your subconscious for that to be the case. I can't tell you how many people I meet that say, "Oh, I'm not good at public speaking." I'm like, okay, well, because you said that, that's true for you. So what if in the moment you literally just shifted that to the opposite and you said, you know what, I'm great at public speaking. And if it's hard for you to feel that and feel resonance with that, there's a hack that you can say, every day I'm getting better and better at public speaking. And that will feel safe enough for your subconscious to adapt. And it will also allow you to start shifting in that reality. Another one is also recognizing that whatever happened in the past is not a predictor of your future. Because if you're constantly projecting what's going to happen based on what happened in your past, you're going to end up manifesting your past every single time. So recognize that up until now, you might have had challenges with relationships. Up until now, you might have had challenges with money, and that's okay. So it's important, even when speaking out loud, to say up until now and make that a regular part of your vocabulary. Because when you say, I struggle with money, that defines past, present, future. You can't break that. And by inserting up until now, it's actually a conscious circuit breaker that tells your subconscious, oh shit, I have another choice right now. I get to actually shift it. Another one is shift from I have to I get to. You don't have to do anything. Actually, everything is an opportunity for you to learn. So it's not I have to go get groceries, it's I get to go to the grocery store. And by shifting that simple thing, you're already positioning everything that happens to you in life as an opportunity. And you're then actually on the lookout for magical things to happen, synchronicities, like looking out for new experiences. And this shifts it from being a task to an amazing opportunity. And this is an important concept to get into. And here are some practices that when you speak, your energy is actually driving most of the message that you are projecting. Have you ever said something and people actually don't receive it the way that you meant? It's because they're reading your energy. And no matter where people are in their journey, they'll either consciously or unconsciously pick up on your energy. So it's actually possible to consciously tune in to the energy that you are saying things with. And it's important to do that. So for instance, attuning to a frequency of gratitude or a frequency of love and taking a second to do that, and then saying whatever it is that you want to say from that place actually has a totally different message, right? So even right now in this presentation, I'm constantly attuned to that, and it doesn't actually matter what I say because you guys are receiving my codes from that. You're receiving my level of consciousness just by being in this field. And the words are actually just for the conscious mind, but in reality, I'm doing energy work on every person here. So, and this is happening on a heart and soul level. And you can practice this at home. You can practice saying the same thing from different energies, like from a place of playfulness, from a place of anger, or something else. And you can ask somebody else, what did they see? What did they hear? And this is going to demonstrate to you the power of attuning to a particular energy when you talk, and the fact that you get to do that very, very consciously. So one other element of words, and it's your inner dialogue. And this is where shadow work comes in. Now, a lot of people I've seen say, everything is a positive emotion and everything is love and light. Okay, great. And that's also called spiritual bypassing. Now, there are times when our inner critic or inner voice will come up and we'll feel angry or we feel sad or we feel rejected, whatever that is. This is any trigger is an opportunity for you to take the energy that is suppressing that emotion and actually transmute it to allow yourself to grow faster. Now, in these moments, whenever that comes up, you get to have a dialogue with that energy and actually ask, hey, what do you need? Why are you here? And oftentimes you're going to find that all it needs is love. It needs your attention, it needs your presence. And you can ask, okay, like, what's the gift of this particular situation? Why do you exist? And you'll see that there was a period in your life where something happened, something that might have been traumatic or difficult to experience. And at the time, you formed this reaction. So now you're actually reliving that and you're saying, you know what? I see the wisdom in that. Like I had to go through that so that I can learn compassion on other people, so that I can learn empathy. And understanding that and internalizing that lesson will clear that karmic debt from your field and will actually allow you to release that energy. This is super, super important. You can't get to a higher level of consciousness without doing this work. And like you're gonna have a cap otherwise. So there's some resources. Michael Singer's book are great, Untethered Soul and Surrender Experiment. And so the great book on language is Conscious Language. And let's move on to action. So quantum actions, the source from where you take your actions is super important. And you can either take that from the mind or you can take that from your intuition or basically a channel. What is channeling? You're connected to infinite intelligence and you're receiving information that your brain is not meant to know. For instance, I like the analogy of a chess master who's playing against a supercomputer, and our brain is the chess master, and it knows 50 to 100 ways to do something. It'll say, you know, this is how I earn money. This is how you do this. The supercomputer calculates like a billion moves a second, and it's like, whatever, dude. Like, doesn't matter what you calculate. Doesn't matter what you think you know. I know infinite amounts more. And so our intuition is that supercomputer. So which one would you rather receive hints from? For me, I pick intuition 10 out of 10 times. And this is the key, is to actually start trusting it, is to release the need to know. Because when we say we need to know how things work, we need to know how things happen, this is your ego coming into play. And this is this fear of the unknown. And when we're in that, we're constantly controlling our reality, and it's impossible for us to receive anything that's outside of the scope of what we know. However, once we release that, we open ourselves up to infinite possibility. And I know this is a lot of information, and just allow yourself to receive what feels resonant. So first of all, right off the bat, every single person has psychic abilities on the planet. Most people have no idea how to use it, and most people just don't believe that that's their reality. However, every person is clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant, etc. Question is, how do you activate that? So one is doing the limiting belief work that we talked about, and the shadow work that we just touched upon. And a lot of other stuff that you get to do is, first of all, work with people who are at a certain level of consciousness so you can tap into that state. And this is where maybe sometimes like things like plant medicine and psychedelics come into play. Some of the simplest things you could do is drink clean water. So stop drinking tap water, for one. Learn about structuring water, and also just constantly visualize whenever you're consuming anything. Visualize like a white light of frequency of love entering, whether it's food, whether it's water, for it to structure your water and actually create a different level of energetic resonance with your field. That's already going to improve. Two is constantly check in with your higher self and your intuition and say, what is the right move right now? You know, what should I do? And this is going to tune you to constantly ask for higher guidance. And you're going to learn how to receive that rather than listening to your mind. An easy way to do that is always following your excitement. And if your highest excitement, and this is not the same thing as your ego telling you, go eat, you know, Taco Bell or whatever junk food, or go watch Netflix. No, it's doing something that really feels expansive in your body and feels light. This is what's going to allow you to start following and connecting more with the resonance of your soul rather than your mind. And like, let's say your highest excitement is to start speaking on stage. Okay, what's a little piece of inspired action that you could take? And that could be posting a little Instagram video of yourself, or it could be finding a group of 3 people that you could speak at. And so it's taking small steps towards that are actually going to help you a lot energetically. So once again, some resources here. Conversations with God, super, super good. Really recommend that book. And let's put it all together. So in essence, your thoughts, words, actions, that trifecta creates the entirety of your reality. And you get to actually make a choice to be on this path and be a creator rather than being victim mode. And this allows you to have a magical, magical life. Now, continue erasing boundaries and doing your inner work and clearing limiting beliefs and reinstalling those. And you'll actually instantly start seeing shifts in your reality. It's pretty amazing how quickly this happens. You can continue developing a dialogue with your higher self and asking, I request to connect with my higher self, and I request to receive guidance on what I should do. Tailor your language and what you speak inside and outside of yourself. It's better to speak fewer words, but be very precise with what you're saying. And of course, continue things like meditation, breath work, energy work, etc. And for anybody that wants to go deeper and is interested in this and this feels like it resonates, you can connect with me on Instagram. Be happy to chat with you about it. This is what I do. Like, I guide people to connect with their soul and how to live with that as a lifestyle. A lot of the books that I mentioned are going to give you a lot of amazing, amazing info. And also consider looking at retreats that maybe have some plant medicine, things like ayahuasca or mushrooms, but in a ceremonial way rather than just recreational. And so this is my message. And somebody's asking, so I think the recording might be available. I don't know if I'll be sharing that particular PDF because this is from a course that I teach. And however, all this information I think will be available on the recording. And if anybody wants further questions or it sparks your interest, hit me up on Instagram and we'll chat from there. But overall, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Sending you a lot of positive emotions from Bali. And thank you so much for receiving. I think we might have another minute or two. If anybody has questions, I'll stick around and answer a couple questions.